Danny Kruger.
Very grateful. Mr Deputy Speaker, thank you very much indeed for calling me. There are obviously very real pressures on the cost of living at the moment coming down the track, and I recognise that, and I note the work that the government has done and is doing to address it. And it is worth noting in passing the work that the contributions that have been made by Treasury Ministers in the last year, reducing the taper rate on universal credit, putting £1,000 in the budgets of 2 million low-income families, increasing the national living wage by over 6.5%, freezing fuel duty for the 12th year in a row, and introducing the Housing Support Fund for low-income families. More is obviously needed, and we recognise that, and this debate has been very helpful in raising some of the options that the government faces, including the possibility of a cut to VAT on energy. And I note the Chancellor is considering this option and many others. But it is worth observing that the effect of a cut in VAT on household fuel would benefit disproportionately those with larger homes. So I think it's right that the government considers this among a suite of possible interventions and measures to support families during the energy spike, the price spike that we're seeing. I just wanted to raise one other option, which I haven't heard debated today, to put forward for consideration. I think it was actually being considered by there were news reports last year about it, which is the policy of what's called a carbon fee and dividend proposal, whereby the fundamental challenge we have, given our net zero commitments, is how to reduce our carbon emissions without hurting low-income families and the economy more generally. And one way of doing this is to ensure that as we tax carbon emissions, as we bear down on carbon using fiscal levers, that the income that is generated for the Treasury through these measures is reallocated directly to families and to low-income families in particular in the form of a carbon dividend or a climate income, as it's called in some places. And other countries have been experimenting with this. I recognise it's quite a statist solution. One might not come naturally to us on this side, but I think it is worth considering the option of recognising that the income that comes from carbon taxation should go directly to support low-income families. Mr Deputy Speaker, I'll finish with a point I think it must be made in every speech on this side. It is very wrong that the opposition are using this opportunity using a debate on this important matter to propose taking over the order paper. I mean, it is very, very regrettable that they are doing this. I was a spectator in the last Parliament, but I saw it very clearly, that terrible time, this paralysed Parliament, a government unable to govern, the public looking on in absolute bewilderment as their representatives serially failed and betrayed the promises that they'd made in their manifestos.
Leave it there. Christine Jardine.